Casting to the masses.
Excellent.
Where are we? All right. Let us get this started. Welcome everybody to episode 233 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. I'm your host Adam Amy, joined today. We've done a midweek interruption to the return to regularly scheduled programming. Kick Russell off. We're still hijacking the pod because we have a 3-part series to complete. It's the three old guys talking ball. Welcome Andrew Lewis and Dan Shea.
What's up?
We're ready.
Hey.
We're ready to talk. We're ready to talk centers.
Big fellas.
Well, the big guys.
The cornerstone of NBA championships for many, many years until those young whippersnappers changed things.
I don't know. Some recent MVP awards suggest that the role of the center has returned. So,
Center renaissance, but I'm ready to kick it old school.
whoa, are we now? Interesting. Just to bring everybody up to speed, look, I'm not going to dilly-dally too much with regards to what happened in previous pods. If you would like to hear those, you can go to both of our channels, either the You Can't Comp This feed or the Three Old Guys Talking Ball. Michael Jordan was obviously the number one picked guard. Who was the number one pick for? LeBron James, that's right. But they're the only spoilers. There was some interesting calls made. Some popular opinions, some unpopular opinions. Some old guy rants.
You got to listen to that Ford podcast to find out exactly where we place Clarence Weatherspoon.
Correct.
Yeah, in that.
Correct. Yeah, so go and check those episodes out, either Three Old Guys Talking Ball or on the You Can't Comp This feed. But without further ado, maybe we just get stuck into it. This is going to be drafted. Is it just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, same as the last couple? Given I'm the guard, I got to pick the guards. Given you're the middle child, Andrew, you got to pick the forward. And today, Dan gets to kick things off with the first pick in the centers.
Roll, Adam.
Hello, territory indeed. Centre being such an important position historically. Lost a bit of emphasis for a while there and is coming back strongly in a slightly different form now with the kind of skill sets we're seeing in big guys these days.
Yeah.
So, look, I think, there are a couple of really clear contenders at this, for this kind of top level. I don't think anyone's going to be unhappy with who they end up with the top 3 pick here. I have gone with the original The Dream, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Excellent.
NBA champion with the Bucks and the Lakers, lots.
Mm-hmm.
6-time NBA champ, 11-time All-Defensive, Rookie of the Year in his first season, 6-time MVP, 2-time scoring champ, 4-time block champ, 15-time All-NBA, twice Finals MVP, and with a career clip, having played until he was recently overtaken by one LeBron James. Having played at a really high level until his final season at the age of 41. Just a wonderful, enduring player, managed to become a bit of a movie star during the time he was still kind of around the NBA. Famously in the Bruce Lee film Tower of Death, showing off his kung fu skills. But just a fantastic player at both ends of the court. A player so good that they outlawed the dunk in NCAA play
Pretty crazy.
because of him.
But can you imagine if they had outlawed the turnaround jump shot because of Michael Jordan? Insane.
Utterly insane. And that wasn't even the shot he was known for, but it was probably the reason he perfected it. Yeah. The trademark Kareem Abdul-Jabbar skyhook, often imitated, not as much as you might think. And there's actually one record, despite having overtaken his total points records and probably homing in on the longevity records that he hasn't yet eclipsed, LBJ, probably won't in his career hit the total field goals made, because Kareem did it all from 2-point range.
Yes.
And just hit them at an amazingly high clip. That skyhook, Kareem was one of the not the first certainly, but certainly one of the most high-profile players who famously kind of played fast and loose with the truth about his actual height. And is rumored to be over 7 feet tall. That was pretty consistent, but rumored to be anywhere between kind of 7'2" and 7'5", depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
Also, I think famously, historically underrated now, I think, and part of the reason is because he was never really one who engaged much with the spotlight. A famous grouch, actually.
Yeah.
Someone who wrote open letters about active NBA players when he was an active NBA player, like he was writing letters of complaint to the Mail. He wrote a famous scree about Wilt Chamberlain not long before he had to play him, thoroughly outplay him, in fact, in that case.
Goodness gracious.
Must have been an important game.
I think there's a really kind of interesting thing. If we think about the way he was portrayed in Winning Time, that kind of very separate in many ways from the rest of the team, kind of grumpy.
Yep.
It seems to have been very true to his spiritually true to his kind of his demeanor and personality back then. Insanely competitive.
Yeah.
Very very private, gruff, but also very kind of internal. And actually, he's been he's mellowed a bit in his older age and has written some very kind of insightful pieces about kind of culture, about NBA, the NBA, where it is, where it's headed, where it's come from.
Yep.
And I think has really kind of more been stepping into that role as elder statesman, while never really having leaned into any kind of official role with any team, which might be a result of how many bridges he burned as a player.
Yeah.
One of the kind of a famous high-profile player to leave a championship team, by choice, right? Highlighting the player empowerment of that when he was leaving the Bucks for the Lakers. But I'm fully aware that I've picked as my top center of all time here a player who played most of his career for your team.
Purple and gold. Love it. Very happy. Yeah, very well deserving number one pick, and I think a well deserving card. I will share with the listeners, and they are probably not very unfamiliar with this card. I'm going to go full screen and pop it up here. It is the 1969 Topps Lou Alcindor Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, number 25. It's a long card, very different. In a PSA 9, it last sold for $192,000, and that was in May 2023. There are 18 that have been graded as a PSA 9, and only 2 that have been graded as a 10, with the sale before last being over $500,000 for this card.
Question without notice, Adam,
Yes.
on
Yes.
the collectible aspect of Kareem. I would imagine Kareem finding something that was signed by him would be incredibly difficult, considering his well-worn or well-ventilated relationship to the fans. especially during his playing career.
During the playing career, finding signed cards was near impossible anyway. Players didn't sign trading cards in the 60s, 70s, 80s. However, in the modern card era, which is where things have sort of changed, I guess, then we're talking about cards that are worth quite a bit of money that are signed, and memorabilia bits from game-worn jerseys. Kareem actually signed a lot post-career. Okay. So there are, it's not as much as Magic did. Magic Johnson is renowned for probably being one of the most signed the most cards. Like, he just kept signing things. So you can pick up Magics pretty easily. You can pick up Kareem autos. I actually have the NBA 75, the 75th anniversary team, one of those cards, numbered to 49 or something, with Kareem's auto on it. It's one of my very few Kareems that I've got. But he does sign. It's not rare as hen's teeth. But this card in particular from '69, getting this in a decent condition is not easy. So even one in a PSA 8's worth 20,000 USD.
Speaking of the longevity thing, before we move on from Kareem, Daniel, the famous longevity statistic about Kareem, other than the games played and the seasons and the points,
yes,
is that he won the NBA Finals MVP 14 years apart. Now, the longevity argument is Kareem and LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
If LeBron were to win the Finals MVP next year, he would just merely equal that.
That was correct, yes.
Yeah. So LeBron won his first Finals MVP in 2012. So that's what we're talking about. That's the sort of...
That's the crazy longevity, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were 11 when Kareem won his first Finals MVP, you would have been 25 years old when he won his final one against the defending champion Boston Celtics, with them clinching for the first time ever on the parquet floor. So Kareem is one of the 4 or 5 best basketballers of all time, unarguably. And
it's always arguably.
I think Daniel was right to mention that his lack of self-promotion, especially during his career, but
yes.
also I think he's got a rather, I mean, it's certainly a thoughtful but not necessarily a comfortable relationship with his place in the world as an all-time sporting great. I think I get the feeling that deep down he'd rather would have been famous for something else.
Yeah, for sure.
But has led to that as well, to his being somewhat underrated against certainly some other centres, one or two of which we will go through, who have been exceptionally good at self-promotion, and maybe one or two still are.
That's a good lead-in.
Daniel had a thought.
I just had a little tail on it, which was he made the All-Star team in all but one of his 20 seasons, so 19-time All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it happened to be a season after winning back-to-back MVPs the previous 2 seasons and finishing 4th in MVP that year. Mm-hmm. It was the season where he played the fewest games of his career in regular season, 62. It is, in fact, the only time... there was one other time that he played fewer than 70, or 65. But aside from those two, he consistently played... essentially the whole season.
There was no load management rubbish. I feel like that's the main thing.
And an early model for just taking great care of his body. Yeah,
it's true.
Sorry, I derailed your segue.
That's okay.
One career 3-pointer made. One
career 3-pointer. Who are we talking about? All right. Now, we've talked about all these lovely players that have been great because they've played for one team for their entire career. Calm down, Andrew.
Oh.
You know you know what's coming with the number two pick. I think the only words I can utter right now is, can you dig it? It is the big man, the big diesel, Shaquille O'Neal. The look of shock and awe on both of your face. I'm pretty sure I've shown my hand on that well in advance. And it was interesting because one of you made comment previously about, well, Baby Shaq wasn't as good as Hakeem Olajuwon. But I tell you what, you know who was better than Hakeem Olajuwon? Three-peat champion Shaquille O'Neal with Jordan 2.0 Kobe Bryant at his side, the greatest 1-2 punch in NBA history. Shaq is the second best center of all time. And that's I'm done. I don't need to say any more. I'm just waiting for Andrew's counter rant now. Do we need to bring up some Shaq stats? Do you not know who I'm referencing? Is he that unknown? I hear typing. I hear furious typing.
Oh, it's hard. No, I'm not typing furiously. I'm typing while furious. There's an important difference. Look. Shaquille O'Neal is physically the most dominant big in the history of the NBA. There's nobody that could stop prime Shaquille O'Neal. And that's it. Nobody could have. Kareem couldn't have stopped this man. The only problem with Shaq is Shaq may have been a bit too excited and enjoyed a few extra burgers in the off season. He wasn't as dedicated to his craft as some of the others, more dedicated, treating their body like a temple sorts, like the LeBrons or the Kareems of the world. Anywho, played for two of our teams. Played for the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, and the highlight of his entire time in Phoenix was the All-Star game in Phoenix where he did that dance.
Yes.
That's it. That's the highlight.
Yes.
Shaq's arrival took a fast, exciting, up-tempo team and slowed them down unnecessarily. The second greatest moment of the Shaq period in Phoenix was the time Greg Popovich decided to hack a Shaq 3 seconds into the first game of the season. That's a fun video.
Yes.
I'm still going to remember Shaq more fondly as a son than Kevin Durant.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like Shaq. I'm a big Shaq fan.
Most people like Shaq. I think
he's one of the 5 greatest centers ever to play in the NBA.
Good. And he's gone at number 2.
I mean, I kind of like that he's kind of cultivated that reputation for being mostly good-natured and a bit thick. But he actually has a non-honorary PhD, like this.
The man has actually got multiple degrees, yeah. Like a lot of...
Yeah, he has a legitimate doctorate.
Yeah.
And, I mean, outside of basketball, like, he's been a really quite shrewd investor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's been seen, you could hardly miss him, but seen at South by Southwest in his role as an investor. Like, got nothing to do with the sort of the entertainment, the TNT side of things. This is a guy who, when he was playing in Miami, was deputized officially. Yeah. And would tweet things like, first 10 people to touch, like, this is my location, giving GPS coordinates. First 5 people to touch me get courtside tickets to the game tonight.
Hey, Dan, you said he was in Miami. Daniel, do you want to give a précis of how he ended up in Miami and who was the impetus for him being traded from the Los Angeles Lakers?
Oh well, I think Ads has probably got the best inside take on that.
I was talking about his work ethic and his unwillingness to train, right? That's right.
You're just trying to make it up to him.
It was
trying to make it up to him now.
It was just an opportunity for Kobe to speak his mind, and look, it was Kobe's team by that stage, and Shaq wasn't required anymore. Although they probably would have won another 3 chips if he'd stayed. Let's be fair.
They could have eaten another 3 chips if he'd stayed.
The minimum's well above 3, but yeah. Look, I would like to have seen what would have happened if that team up had continued and they'd found a way to work I don't know, share the court.
Look, I think I'm going to be able to address this in more detail with a later selection of someone who's going to fall to me. But just to keep it short, no one in the history of the NBA was more satisfied with being very, very, very good but not great than Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes.
Yep.
Except he was so talented that he was great anyway.
Yeah.
But we can see that he could have been even greater.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was probably the one thing that annoyed Kobe the most.
I've heard repeated or separate
literally
footage where he said exactly that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's just like
we could all pick which legacy we'd rather have, which resume we'd rather have. But of all the NBA players in NBA history, Shaq's might be the life you have most wanted to live. You was like, I want to be Shaq.
Yeah.
Shaq had absolutely all the fun he wanted to,
Yep. Spot on. And
won
I'm
4
not
NBA championships, 3 NBA Finals MVPs. He was a great transcendent player. There were just
he got 4. He got 4. Kobe got 5. And he let him know about it too. Anyway, this isn't about Kobe. I'm trying to make it.
Shaq's mistake was he played in an NBA Finals for the Orlando Magic instead of against them. So that was a mistake.
Yeah, it's spot on. And he was the first NBA center to move from the Orlando Magic to the Los Angeles Lakers. First number 1 draft pick that the Lakers acquired from Orlando. The second being Dwight Howard, and hopefully the third being Paolo Banchero. Anyway, I'm really trying to stir the old man rant, but
it's gonna be Markel Fultz before it's Paolo Banchero.
Oh God! All right, so I'm gonna go across to the 1992 NBA hoops draft redemption. Shaquille O'Neal just got him with his suit on with his Orlando Magic cap. It's a nice card. PSA 10 last sold yesterday, funnily enough, for $450. Population count on this is 560. It's a nice, simple-looking card. It's got the big number 1 on it, and I think it's a nice, simple thing that represents, I don't know,
probably a card I would have, when I was, for that short, brief period, I was collecting cards, because I used to buy NBA hoops, and that would have been the year. So it'd be like, I'm trying to pick this card.
It would be, you'd have to get it via redemption. The other one that's probably synonymous with our era is the 1B, the upper deck one with the 3 shots of him going up to dunk, the big black card from upper deck. And that,
I mean, that was the other type of card. The upper decks from like 92, 93 they were really good looking cards.
That 92, 93 set was
they were good looking
very
cards.
memorable.
They were thick too. They were like really thick. I remember.
They were good quality cards. Getting this in a gem min will set you back $2,500.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's the rookie card to go for. If you get in a PSA 9, however, it'll only set you back $45 because there's over 4,000 of them.
They're everywhere.
But they don't grade very well. So getting a PSA 10 is not easy. Not easy at all.
You hear that, Daniel? Not easy.
Awesome. All right. Well, we might take a quick break, and then when we come back, Andrew can get things back on track with the third pick and see who's behind these two great Lakers. And we're back. Andrew, have you been umming and ahhing on which Laker you want to pick in number 3?
I just was stirring that whole time about the two great Lakers. It's like that Tom Hardy Mad Max meme. Yeah, that's bait.
DeAndre Ayton is going to be pick number 3.
No. But I'm going to calm down.
It's okay. It's your pick.
It is my honor. It's my honor.
Honor.
Just like it was when we did the all-time draft. The teams back on many years ago. It is my honor to select as, with number 3 in this draft, the greatest winner in the history of team sports, and the greatest teammate in the history of the National Basketball Association, William Felton Russell. Bill Russell, man who won 11 NBA titles in 13 years. A man who might have had the greatest 14th-month period in the history of basketball when he won an NCAA title, an Olympic gold medal, and an NBA championship in the space of just over a year.
Mm-hmm.
A man who played nearly 1,000 games over a 13-year career. A man who finished with 5 MVPs and finished top 3 in the MVP 9 straight seasons, in a time when he was playing in the same league as players we've already drafted over the course of the last few podcasts. Guys like Jerry
episodes,
West, Elgin Baylor, and Oscar Robertson, and guys who we're about to draft. The driving force behind the greatest dynasty perhaps in the history of team sport. A man who was so good coming out of high school and who Red Auerbach recognized as something you could build that sort of dynasty on, that he traded 2 future Hall of Famers for him without him having ever played a game. A man whose achievements outweigh his statistical record, but somehow that statistical record also includes 22.5 rebounds per game for his entire 963-game career. This is a guy who basically they should rename defensive win shares Russells. He led the league in defensive win shares 12 straight seasons. That's not but you finished second in defensive win shares. That's pretty good, but he was first for 12 straight seasons. Let's see Victor Wembanyama do that.
We will.
But then again,
we might.
Adam can talk about that when he picks Wemby with his next pick.
No, he's the 8th pick.
Oh, okay, excellent.
No,
still second in career rebounds.
Nice
in the NBA.
He did average like 64 rebounds a game, didn't he?
22.5 for his entire career.
That's because he kept missing shots and rebounding them, right?
Yeah.
And
he has just for you, Adam. He also has he has a All-Star MVP as well.
So, nice.
And
he has
a civil.
Let's just say Bill Russell has his own Kobe Bryant trophy.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant has 2 Bill Russell trophies, including Finals MVP. Daniel, is Finals MVP or All-Star MVP? I think most of the guys we're drafting today, except possibly one, it would be an obvious choice to those.
But which one's more important? Well, I think the most telling thing is, if we're talking about the example, which one do you think Kobe would have valued higher?
Correct. That's it.
Not the one that's named after him.
A civil rights leader, a groundbreaker, the first playing coach of the NBA to win an NBA title, the first African-American coach in the NBA, the leader of the first all African-American starting 5. Just everyone, if you if you're listening and you think I might be overstating his influence or anything like that, your two documents, visual documents that you watch is the Netflix Bill Russell Legend
Yes.
two-part documentary, and then the Celtic City documentary, the first few episodes where it covers Russell's career. But also Second Wind, the Russell autobiography.
Yes.
Which includes just some fantastic commentary on some of his rivals, but that's becoming a common theme. And Kareem should be rated against Bill because as soon as Kareem entered the league, Bill Russell retired.
Yeah, he knew when he was defeated. He knew when he was
just
done,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Jordan retired and went to the Wizards, you see. Because Kobe entered the league. Anyway.
Yeah. They had years of crossover, Adam, and
that's why he played at the Wizards, you see, because
the years where he was at Chicago and Kobe was at the Lakers, Michael Jordan won every title.
Kobe was just sharpening his claws. That's fine. That's all right. It's okay. We've picked the top three, and so far we've got 2 Lakers and 2 Celtics, so we should be happy.
Shaq's... Yeah. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Shaq. Was there another Shaq? Where was Shaq? Shaq with Cleveland between Phoenix and Boston?
No, it was Boston was the last one, wasn't it? Yeah, and Cleveland was second last.
Yeah,
it was.
Phoenix, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bill Russell only played for one team.
He did. And I've got a very old card to show. But Dan, you go first.
Just some other stuff about Bill Russell. I think one of the things that really stood out about him was he had a very distinctive style of leadership. No one doubted that he was kind of very important to the team. A team that, when he joined it, had a face, had a kind of a leader in Bob Cousy, who was considered to be the best player on the team and the face of the team and famous nationally and all of that. And he had a way of both leadership and competition that when you talk to the people who knew him, including, we'll hear about him later, but his the greatest rival he had at his position during his career, that he just was relentlessly positive towards them.
This sounds like the Tim Duncan thing all over again.
I think, in a way, it does. I mean, with Tim Duncan, people would try to rattle him and couldn't.
Yeah.
And Timmy would actually play mind games by killing them with kindness, and actually he was trash talking.
Yeah. Versus...
Right? But look for the stories about Bill Russell trash talking. And this is a guy who was also very passionate about and involved with kind of the civil rights movement, who had his house broken into and trashed.
Yes.
And was able to kind of maintain this this dignity through all of it, and this really kind of positive, generous attitude towards leadership. There were those who there are in basketball and in other team sports, people who lead through kind of this force of their being the biggest, baddest guy in the room, right? And they kind of lead by this sort of vicious competitiveness, by demanding more of their teammates. But again, kind of ask around, including other famous Celtics, right? They had that that way of really pushing their teammates in that way. Bill Russell lifted everyone up. And it worked really well for him. In fact, one of the things that he had talked about, and that I guess has come out partly in Celtic City, partly in other things that have is just some of the players he's been in a position to influence. In Celtic City, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce talk about it. But one of the people who reached out to him was your favorite, Kobe Bryant, when he was basically working on how to find his own leadership style. He clearly settled on a different one than Bill did, but Bill talks about how attentive and how attentive and curious Kobe was in seeking him out.
Yeah, very much so.
So I think he leaves a very different kind of legacy. Also a quiet but not the quietly brooding of Kareem, and
Kareem.
not the noisy charisma of Shaq,
Yeah.
but a quietly kind of strong guy with integrity who didn't leave enemies behind him.
Yeah, fair. An interesting one. I think it's one of those, I guess, that's so far away from the eras of basketball that we've grown up with. So he's not even just barely removed from our era. He's so far in the past that contextualizing his impact on the game can be difficult. And it is. Kids these days that haven't seen Jordan, the ones that, we'll joke about it, the ones that call LeBron the GOAT, are so far removed from seeing Jordan that's why they've only seen LeBron. And I feel like Bill Russell's maybe that far away from us that he's not given the dues that he should be sometimes.
I think it's an important point to make in all seriousness when we're comparing eras.
Yep.
Is that, and I think there's probably one guy on the bottom of consideration for a top 10 centers list who is probably the most problematic person we'll discuss, or might be discussed. But Russell has to be compared with his peers the same way Michael Jordan has to be compared with his peers. And you can make a Michael Jordan case that, if you were going to put together why Michael Jordan isn't the greatest player of all time, if you were going to do it, you would put the competition aspect, particularly at his position.
Yep.
When team defense wasn't necessarily a thing, there wasn't all the switching. So you would be like, who are the great other shooting guards that he came up against? That would be part of the... But that's not fair to Michael Jordan, who also, whenever he got the slightest whiff of someone coming up in his prime, particularly like during the first 3 championships, would, seek a way to cut out their heart and show how black it was to them before they died, metaphorically.
He took it personally.
He did. He took a lot of it very personally.
Yeah. Bill Russell...
The quest to be the best.
Bill Russell's dominance, the fact that he played in an era where there was, a concentration of talent.
Yeah.
Amongst 2 or 3 other teams. Teams were. It was a league with 100 guys in it.
Yeah.
And yet, there's in any one of those seasons, there's probably 20 guys who made the Hall of Fame. He has to be. You have to put him in his context of his time.
Sure.
And it's easy to diminish that, but there's no. I think the arguments against Bill Russell are usually revolve around the fact that he was, 6'10". He was not big for a centre by today's standards, or certainly by 1990s standards.
Shaq would have flattened him.
Yeah, during the,
Yeah. No, I understand the dominance side of it as far as like he was.
And we grew up in an era where there was a lot of really, really good centres.
True, very true.
Where it was a
The
dominant
90s,
and they were all 7 foot, 7'1".
Yep.
So
they go, no.
You can make that. You can make that argument that Russell would have physically struggled, but
you can't. There's no fact that we can see. There's nothing evidential.
Yeah, but it also takes away from the intangibles. This guy was the very living embodiment of how important intangibles are. How he makes his teammates better. How I don't think he ever said a discouraging word to a teammate.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's a little like Bradman never been hit on the hands in his career. So it's like one of those things where you think, well, that's not true. At some stage, he would have been like, hey, Tommy,
cracked
can you
it.
just shut up?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. He just felt, and I've used this in my coaching context, coaching young children in a different game. It's just like, Bill Russell's attitude was, I can be great, but the team can't be great unless I help you all be great.
Yeah, correct. You're correct. It's not about being the one.
That is the attitude that sets Bill Russell apart from every other NBA player in history. So I'm happy to concede that Kareem, in particular, deserves his spot as the number 1 center of all time. But if I had to take anyone from history in their prime and build a team to win a championship, I would give serious thought to Bill Russell over Michael Jordan before I think finally picking Michael Jordan. But that's the biggest compliment I can pay Bill Russell is they're the only two guys in the conversation for me in my mind.
Interesting. Well, I've got a basketball card for Bill because, everyone gets their own card. 1957 Topps, Bill Russell in excellent condition. It's a PSA 5. 165 of these. Very there's a few going around. There's not that many. The highest grade is actually a PSA 9, but I went with the PSA 5 because it's probably I use the term more affordable. The pop count is 165, and this last sold for $7,300 and that is in PSA 5. So there's like some dings in it. The centering's not great. You can get a PSA 3 for $3,800. If you get this card in a PSA 1, it'll still cost you, $2,500. Anyway, this is a very old.
It's almost a 70-year-old card.
Yes, correct. But if you get it in a PSA 9, there is no value. The estimated value hasn't even been guessed. It has never been sold. There are only 3 of them in existence, and they would have all gone to collectors. That would be my guess, Anyway, we've just spent a whole segment worth of time talking about Bill Russell. So we'll take another break, and then we'll move into the second round of the draft, where we go 4, 5, and 6. Surely.
We'll go quicker.
All right. And we are back. Andrew, how are you feeling with your pick?
I'm very happy with my pick, and I'm ready to be re-agitated.
Oh, good. It's Dan's pick first. Maybe you won't be agitated yet. You get probably. Dan's obviously happy he got the first pick, so he didn't.
He could make me very happy. It's
because this is possible. Because he'll make you very happy. I'll infuriate you.
Yeah.
Brace yourselves.
Yeah.
We're on to number 4. Is Andrew going to be happy, sad, or indifferent?
I suspect indifferent. So I don't think I'll be surprising anyone particularly with my pick. I'll be picking the man with a million nicknames. I'm going to choose some of the ones I haven't heard before. Big Musty, the record book, Hook and Ladder, Whipper, Norm. Did I say the Load? How's better known as the Big Dipper or Wilt the Still, Wilton Norman Chamberlain.
The Load. I mean, really.
Well,
while we're keeping it 100,
I've got a question. I can't ask it on a family broadcast.
It was a different time.
Far out.
There's a time and place for everything, and it was called the 60s. Wilt was always going to be somewhere in the top 3, 4. Shaq
was he going to be? Was he always going to be there?
Well,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised by your pick. I thought you were going to have a dream theme to your selections tonight. Yeah.
I will say,
don't worry, he'll come around by the time you get to your next pick.
In my mock, I may have been considering him here, but took a bit of an audible because Wilt was still available. So,
True.
The human NBA record, basically. 7-time scoring champ, 13-time All-Star, 11-time rebound champ with a career average of 23 rebounds a game, or just shy, 22.9.
It was a different time.
10-time All-NBA, 4 MVP, 2 All-Defensive, 1 time just for giggles. He set out 2 and won the assist champ, led the league in assists. the only player who will ever score 100 points in an NBA game.
The only player to have ever scored more points in a game than Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm like 100% on the only player who ever scored 100 games. There is a situation where Doncic gets into a game, maybe LeBron is sitting out against one of these horrific defensive teams. I don't know. I think there'll be another 80-point game.
I think it's possible. It'll be done by a Laker.
Austin Reeves.
But this is a player who averaged 50.4 points in a season by himself, along with 26 rebounds. There are all of these great stories about Wilt, and I think we've talked about this on the Three Old Guys Talking Ball pod a number of times, about how when we're talking about kind of historical significance, there's always this, okay, well, except for Wilt, who did such and such, right? Like, when we're talking about this trivia, we really have to... And there are all of these great stories about Wilt, because he was also one of the world's great self-mythologizers. The famous one about, look, maybe it was 19,999, maybe it was 20,001, but yeah, I slept with about 20,000 women, that he committed to in print. There was one point where he was going to fight Muhammad Ali in a proper boxing match. After he retired from the NBA, he was this close to taking work as a delivery man. He once dunked the ball so hard that it broke someone's toe. Not from him landing on them, I should be clear. The ball went through the basket so hard it broke Hall of Famer Johnny Red Kerr in the foot and broke his toe. That's the ball. Right.
The load was delivered.
He was so much stronger than everyone around him. He used to just like picking grown men up around and walking around while carrying them. He was grabbing quarters off the top of the backboard and this one's contended, but I guess many of them are. But that he played very successfully and illegally underage in an adult men's league and dominated as a young teenager under an assumed name. And I mean the stories go on and on. I mean, there was one point where a known weak point of his game was he was a poor free throw shooter. Yeah. To the point where he decided to take some tips from famously good and unorthodox free throw shooter Rick Barry, and he shot. He tried shooting his free throws underhanded, shot the best percentage of the year, and then was so embarrassed by how he looked, he stopped and went back to his terribly inefficient regular.
At least he tried it.
Style.
At least he tried it. Shaq was on the record saying, "I'd rather miss every free throw than try it underhanded."
Yep.
Wilt never
heart of a champion.
Wilt never fouled out of an NBA game.
So it never went hard enough, obviously.
Well, he was just dunking the ball hard enough to break people's toes. But
as soon as he got his fifth foul, he was a turnstile.
That's it.
It was
just straight up defense. That's it.
No, because he played like that. That never getting fouled out streak was the most important thing to him.
And I think there are a few things that are really important that really actually capture some of the things we've said about some of the other players that have been picked ahead of him on this list. Is that he really was someone who had all the physical gifts. Reputedly, in addition to everything else, he had a 40-inch vertical, and he'd been a track and field champ at the varsity level. And he was someone who was really, really enjoyed fame. He enjoyed, he engaged in publicity stunts. He played with the Harlem Globetrotters, and he was someone who very much enjoyed his fame.
The showmanship of it, though, like they're being in the spotlight, and yeah, of course.
And he was a fascinating rival and great friend in the end, with Bill Russell.
Yeah.
With such a different style. He was a kind of a showboat. And actually, I think something in the way Russell played him, there was a real strategy to it, because he played hard. He never, he didn't antagonize Wilt. He, in a way, kind of got under his guard. Their head-to-head record is not as one-sided as you might think, given
the result,
given Russell's overall success. Wilt tended to underplay his general averages, but still outplay Russell on counting stats and things like that.
Yep.
But because he didn't win as much, that part of it is not really remembered. There's this idea that Wilt wasn't really a winner.
Yeah. Take note, Luca.
And I think it's important to just remember that in addition to all of these individual
accolades,
honors,
yeah, winning's important,
right? He was also a 2-time NBA champ. It doesn't sound that impressive when you compare it to Russell's 11.
Yeah,
but given if we remember that he was playing in a league with that historically great dynasty, sometimes in the same conference, sometimes in the opposing conference, and he still won those 2 championships. This is a player who won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season.
Yes.
Right?
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Did he win the MVP the year he scored 50 points a game?
That's a good question. I don't...
Oh, I know the answer.
Probably not. No, no, he was
second.
second. Yeah.
Who won the MVP that season?
Probably Russell.
Yeah, it's also the season Oscar averaged a triple-double, but...
Interesting
what a
season.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing. And again, I think I'm stealing Adam's lines from previous discussions we've had on the Old Men Talking Ball, 3 Old Men Talking Ball podcast. But it's amazing, but it's also true that Wilt has become underrated now.
Ooh. Or is it underrated, or is it appropriately rated on the scale that we're measuring on, right?
I think it depends on which group you're asking.
That's true. The audience is definitely an important part. It's interesting.
More than any other team sport, basketball, and particularly NBA basketball, it is. I don't know. The general feeling is if the championship is won by the team with the best, most dominant player. And if you can find the appropriate system and role players to put around that player, all the statistical description and physical description of Wilt is true.
Yes.
And yet, except for the year where he led the league in assists, which is the year when he was playing for Philadelphia, where they won 68 games and won the NBA championship, which was also the first year Red Auerbach wasn't coaching the Celtics and Bill Russell was.
Yeah.
And the 72-73 season of the Lakers, where they won 33 games right after Elgin retired, and Wilt Chamberlain was certainly not in his prime. Wilt was vanquished at the most important moment every other time.
Yeah. Yep.
So Wilt, in one respect, is the most difficult to put in a historical context because
I don't know.
I think we've all said, the almost all NBA statistics should have an asterisk. So just like when they put up the list, it's just like not including Wilt.
I feel like there needs to be a formula that you apply to each era, and I don't mean in any era in particular. I think each one has its own calculation factor that needs variables that need to be applied to it to see what it looks, what the stats look like. Anyway, I'll go into deeper detail about that.
But the championships disparity between him and Russell is so
It's huge.
stark.
Yeah, it's massive.
And
Yeah, yeah. That's the self versus team. Mindset,
record
right?
in playoffs.
Yeah,
against
Simple
each
as that.
other. Records in game sevens against each other. It's just
It's I am
what
great
do you
versus
value?
we are great. Simple.
Yeah.
I'm
What do you value?
yeah. Yeah, it's a team first thing. There's nothing team first about Wilt. That's as simple as that. This one is from the Vault. There's a story behind this one. The 1961 Fleer Wilt Chamberlain. I've got the PSA 8. No, the PSA 9 up on the screen. No, I don't have it on the screen. Let's put it there. Ta-da. Now, this card is important because there are 32 of them in the PSA 9. And the last one sold in December last year for $132,000. Now, somebody inherited their father's or their grandfather's basketball cards. And they got a near mint one of these out of a collection and had it graded, and it was a PSA 10. It's the only PSA 10 in existence of this card from 1961. And it has not yet been sold. It has been suggested that this card by itself is $1 million card that someone's just found
Jeez.
in their since deceased grandfather's basketball collection. And it's just like hey, you got a bunch of granddad's knickknacks. Here's $1 million basketball card. And no, obviously they didn't know. Yeah, and it was Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah, so an interesting one to trash and treasure story, I guess, for the collectors out there. Anyway, I'm gonna work on what I think these variables should be. But speaking of variables and applying formulas, I'm gonna break the cycle again with my number 5 pick, because Andrew's about to get super triggered. And look, given I feel like we've spent more time talking about each of these centers than every other player we've spoken about in the previous pod, so I'll kick this along pretty quickly. With the number 5 pick, I'm taking Nikola Jokic.
Knew it.
Andrew didn't just shut down the thing and disconnect and leave. It's like he's done it again. Twice! Yeah, that's right. Nikola Jokic. This man should have 5 MVPs, by the way. This is the man that single-handedly reinvented the center position. Showed that in the modern era of basketball, where there's not just 100 blokes playing, but there's well over 500 players in the league, is doing it all, averaging a triple-double, and not just stat padding. I'm talking leading the league in each stat category consistently through the season and dominating as a result. This man could take 4 12-year-olds out onto the court with him and find a way to win an NBA game. Nikola Jokic has etched himself as one of the greatest centers this game has ever seen. And I'm drafting him with the 5th pick. You can go first, Dan, because I think Andrew's I'm just waiting for the steam to come off his head.
So, what I think part of this is that I think there's a very real chance that Andrew was planning to take him with the next pick. But look, I think the thing about Jokic, the only thing that had me hesitating with this list is that as dominant as he's been, with as little kind of relative support as he's had on that team, in terms of what a team that didn't have him on it could have made of his teammates, right? it's that his story isn't yet finished, and
Yeah.
so as a result, it's like we're banking somewhat on trajectory. I mean, there's a chance that Wemby's going to kind of blow all these guys out of the water once we finally see him his final form.
If Jokic is done as of this season, I've still got him at 5.
Oh, I'm just saying, right? Like in terms of that kind of duration of
for sure,
right?
Yeah.
So height of peak, really, I don't question it at all. And I don't hate it. Like I would have been amazed if he hadn't made the list at all. I think he deserves to be on it.
Yeah.
Which means that really it's about any arguments are really about his placement.
Yeah.
Right? But that ability he has to just make the most of whoever happens to be on his team, that stamina he's got, where people are literally counting like the visible scratches and stuff on his body to try to pick up signs that he's slowing down during a hard-fought playoff series, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that despite being a big man who does a lot of his damage either off the pass or off the shot from a pretty long way away from the rim, particularly for a big guy, he's so consistent, just so consistent, and had I think not by the end of the season, but I'm pretty sure there was a point in the season where this last NBA season where he was leading the league in literally 3-point percentage.
Yeah, he was literally doing it all.
I think, like I say, the knocks that exist, there's one that's a bit spurious, which is that he's not a good defender, which is not really true. He's not the best for his size and position. He's not the best one-on-one defender.
Yeah, but he doesn't do the things that you expect of a center. He's not the block leader. He's not the.
But as a team defender,
yes, he plays his role. Yeah,
those long arms spread out to the side as well as going up, and
as in help defense. He's good on help D, and that's
he gets a lot of steals for a center.
Yep.
And so I don't hate it. It's not who I expected to be picked here, but this is sort of not far away from the range I had him in my mock, in my head. So yeah, I'm really. Andrew looks like he's recovered enough to give us.
Is the word recovered? I don't know. We'll find out. Andrew,
do the card.
Oh boy! Wow.
Do the card.
Oh. Are we gonna get full old man rant? This is great. I'm gonna get the light blue PSA 10 number. I've got the light blue because of the Denver color match. So I'll just get this up for everybody playing at home. This is the 2015 Panini Prism Nikola Jokic rookie. Light blue prism, numbered to 199, PSA 10, last sold for, and we're just going to look at the last couple of years. Actually, all time's probably funnier. If you'd bought this card back in 2020, or no, 2019, this specific card would have set you back $305. Last sold May this year for $9,200. And there was a sale previous to that was $11K. But yeah, 23 of them out of the 199. Great card, underrated. Bigs have never sold well in the card collecting world, but I think Jokic is the real deal, and there's a market for those cards. Passing on to Andrew now. Do I need to
No.
hit the censor button or anything?
No, that's fine. No. And to be fair, if Adam had picked the player he should have picked with his 5th pick, I would be picking Nikola Jokic right now because I had Jokic 6. But the disrespect. We're talking about players who've become underrated, forgotten even. I'm sorry it's had to come to this for me, picking in 6 for him. This guy fell to here because I had him ahead of 2 setters, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 guys I had him ahead of were the 2 guys Adam picked.
Yeah.
So, with the 6th pick in the center draft, I pick Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Now, Adam says in his erudite, articulate summation of the Nikola Jokic unfinished career that he could pick a bunch. You know, he can drag a bunch of 12-year-olds. Let me just clear away the
Sam Cassell was 13, not 12.
Let me just clear away the thick layer of hyperbole on that and talk about the team that Hakeem Olajuwon led to a final sweep against the aforementioned Shaquille O'Neal in the 1995 NBA Finals.
Baby Shaq,
This was
yes.
after beating... was he in nursery school?
May as well be.
Was...
Skinny Shaq, how about that?
Okay, well, let me get my hyperbole remover off again because you just relayed some on there. This was after, in the Western Conference Finals, not just beating but eviscerating that year's MVP and scoring leader David Robinson, who we're probably going to mention in the last 4 picks at some stage. That was after beating in the conference semifinals Adam's boy, the 3rd best forward of all time, removed talking marks, Karl Malone. And that was before, in the first round of the NBA playoffs, beating, or I think it was the other way around, Charles Barkley, who probably just missed out on the top 10 forwards of all time. This is Hakeem Olajuwon's team that he played to those NBA finals, Hakeem Olajuwon. So his starting lineup was Mario Elie, who wasn't in the starting lineup a year before for the 94 NBA champion Houston Rockets. A washed-up Clyde Drexler, Kenny Smith, and Robert Horry. Now, remind me which one of those guys has a 50-point NBA playoff game. It's probably none of them, unlike one of Nikola Jokic's teammates.
Big Shot Bob's not a nobody.
And the bench that he used that season was Sam Cassell, Charles Jones, and Chucky Brown. Now, Charles Jones and Chucky Brown's family might know that they played in that game, but not many people do either. In Game 4 of the 1994 NBA Finals, when he beat Patrick Ewing, who might also get mentioned in the last 4 picks in this draft, Carl Herrera played 25 minutes for the Houston Rockets.
God, if I'd pick Wemby.
So everything that's true about Jokic and his supporting cast is more true of Hakeem, who has 2 NBA titles, one where he beat a 50-win team in every round, not a team that made it to the playoffs through the play-in in almost every round, like Jokic did for his NBA title. He beat Shaq. They played a competition. Hakeem was the better player. He won 2 titles. He was the best player for his entire career at Houston on his team.
I'm just trying to locate. Can you help me with this, Andrew?
But again,
what season did Hakeem lead the league in assists?
He never did.
No, because he averaged 2.5 for his career, as opposed to Nikola Jokic, who averages a triple-double. And
well, I'll get into my DeLorean, and we'll go back 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll re-record the guard pod. And then we can give Jokic his flowers, okay? No, that's unfair.
What's a Nubian? You almost made
What? I
me
didn't
laugh.
say that.
No, I know. Yes.
Look, to be fair, Hakeem played in an era where centers got center stats and guards got guard stats, except, Hakeem averaged nearly 2 steals a game for his entire career to go along with his 3.1 blocks.
Hang on.
In 1990, Hakeem averaged 6.7 blocks and steals combined. Okay? So, yes, as Daniel mentioned, Jokic is unfairly described as not a great defensive player. But the list of guys who are not a great defensive player, next to Hakeem Olajuwon, is probably everyone who ever played in the NBA except Bill Russell.
Fair.
Hakeem is criminally underrated.
Criminally underrated. I would have had him.
Underrated.
If I had your pick, I would have picked him 6'2".
I think I think you're all just doing this for content purposes. I think this is a deliberate, cynical act to get me angry because it plays good for the socials and your AI generated some AI generated picture of Jokic dunking on Olajuwon as if Jokic can dunk the ball, and that's not even taking into account Hakeem Olajuwon's. And this is another one for you young whippersnappers here and there. Maybe you could Google it and call, it's called low post moves. By the way, if Hakeem played now, if 22-year-old Hakeem came into the NBA in 2020, Hakeem would have a 3-point shot. He was insanely skilled.
Except for passing. He never did that.
Because he never played on a team with any good scorers.
Jokic played with a bunch of people.
I'm happy to concede that Nikola Jokic is a better passer than Hakeem Olajuwon. But one sparrow does not a summer make.
True.
Nor one playoffs where every team is like, here's another 43-win cupcake for you to knock down to get to that NBA championship. Nikola Jokic. The defense rests.
On that note, I'll find a Kareem card. The good old. I'm gonna go to
Hakeem. The man's name is Hakeem Olajuwon. Do not put up a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar award, or I will. You don't want to know what I'm gonna do.
It's Akeem AKEEM Olajuwon.
The 86 Fleer.
The
rookie.
86 Fleer rookie. Akeem Olajuwon. In a PSA 10. The pop count on this is 354 and it lasts sold for $3,960. Peak of this card sold for $25K during COVID. But there has been a little bit of a dip. Yes, not highly coveted Hakeem cards. But he is a well-respected centre. And look, he was named before some of the others you mentioned, like David Robinson and Patrick Ewing. And Mark Eaton, if we're going to go back to that Utah team that I seem to be...
David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, guys in their peak who were destroyed by Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yes. One season does not a career make.
He did play with a few decent scorers in time.
2 NBA titles.
Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler were no slouches. Neither was Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. That's interesting. Hey,
it was the later part of their career.
But you don't want to pass to those people.
Why would you want
to pass to those people? Why would you want to pass the ball to Scottie Pippen?
Did they ever average were they averaging 26, 27 points a game while they were playing with them?
Well, there's only so much to go around. I mean,
there was enough for Shaq and Kobe. I mean, come on.
Right. It's Houston. Pippen averaged 15 in Houston. 15 a game in Houston.
Barkley averaged 19. Barkley averaged 19.
He would have averaged more if Hakeem had passed the damn ball to him.
Because Shaq had such a huge assist rate too. He was passing to Kobe all the time.
You're right. This makes for great content.
Shaq had a better supporting cast in every one of his NBA titles than Hakeem did. I just read you the Hakeem, supporting cast. Do I have to go through the rest of the...
No, we're fine. No.
Vernon Maxwell, Otis Thorpe, Earl Cureton, Chris Gent.
God, we thought you were going to go full old guy on us and you picked someone from the 90s. We remember Hakeem Olajuwon. Come on.
Really? Then act like
it. Good point.
On the other hand, the next pick is where things get interesting.
All right. I'm gonna go to one final quick break. When we get back, we'll just go through the rest, and things will get more than interesting. And
hopefully, I'm still alive.
We're gonna try and avoid a cardiac event from Andrew.
Oh.
And we're back. Andrew, how are you? Are you feeling? Are you feeling calmer, refreshed?
Oh, I just damned a double whiskey, so I'm good.
That'll settle you for Dan's next pick, but I don't know about mine. All right.
Yeah.
On we
I don't
go.
know who on earth is going to be picked. Just Dan, just be sensible.
Please.
Oh dear. Just you've definitely taken your antihypertensives, mate.
Yep.
All right.
You're
All
gonna
good.
He's going to pick Wemby. Watch this.
No, I feel like I'm being relatively dull in this draft. So look, there were a couple of pretty worthy people I thought about here. I've got a feeling that the one that I almost picked here is going to get picked next. But here, I think, yes, wanting to spread out the eras a bit, but with the 7th pick, I'm going to pick Moses Malone.
Good man.
So, mentor of Andrew's favourite player of all time when they were both playing for Philly. 6-time total rebound champ, 13-time All-Star, 83 NBA champ, 3-time MVP, and a Finals MVP, 2-time All-Defensive selection. And while he did start off in the ABA, it was really just a little while, and because he started playing very young for his era, started playing at 19, he started playing in the NBA the year he turned 21, and played through until he was 39. Although he was clearly showing the effects and proving again that Father Time is undefeated by the end of that. But during that time, this was a guy who, from centre, was really a really dominant rebounder. During an era where that was more common for power forwards by that point, and just a great kind of inside scorer, not the kind of gaudy shot blogger that I say gaudy. That's not to devalue it. Wasn't the high block number kind of rim protector that someone like Elijah One was, or the person I suspect is going to get chosen next. But just such a consistent, dominant rebounder, inside scorer, a historically great offensive rebounder specifically. Led the league in that even more times than he led the league in total rebounds. To the point where he was a lock to be kind of right up there, giving his team second chances. And for a guy who really wasn't, had a very, in some ways, very classic offensive game for a kind of a front court player, forward center. He was really kind of powerfully effective on both ends of the court. Not so much as a shot blocker, but again, someone from that center position who averaged close to a steal a game, and 12.3 rebounds and 20 points over a really long, very, very physical career. So yeah, that's my guy.
Moses Malone,
the chairman of the boards.
No one maximized their potential performance probably in the history of the NBA more than Moses Malone. He got the most out of himself.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a card. There's not a lot of Moses Malone. There's a little bit, but I thought I would go back into the vault and find something nice. We did have a 1975 Topps Stars card of Moses Malone, PSA 10. Pop count on this is 39. Last sold for $18,900. Yeah, nice little bit of cardboard. I'll share that for all those playing at home. Yeah, not a lot. Obviously, the 1986 Fleer, he makes an appearance. There's not a lot of basketball cards out here, but this one probably being the most impactful.
Hmm.
That was rather calm. Andrew, maybe you did
Moses, who I had next. So I'm happy with that.
quelled the fire. Oh, how do I annoy you then with my 8th pick?
Please do.
Somehow I think you've got it in you.
I feel like I've been able to achieve this. No, I do not have Victor Wembanyama.
You,
I'm not picking Wemby. I was 50-50 and it was... All right. I'm gonna do something. I think Andrew will actually be really calm for this one. At number 8, I'm gonna pick Bob McAdoo. I'm just actually picking someone's a center, 5-time All-Star, 3-time scoring champ, 2-time NBA champion, 2-time All-NBA, 72-73 All-Rookie, Rookie of the Year in 72-73, won the MVP in 74-75, and was part of the NBA 75th anniversary team. No violent reaction, Andrew?
No, you just made my next choice really easy because I was getting torn because of who I had.
Was McAdoo one of your final selection points?
I had McAdoo on my list of players for consideration, but
I was tempted to stay in the 90s, and I didn't. I thought I'd, look back on history a little bit. And
the numbers are incredible in his peak.
Yes.
And something that centers just not achieved. Really, I mean, the only guy since Kareem who has put up Bob McAdoo-like scoring numbers is Joel Embiid.
Yes.
So, who none of us are about to select, for ideological reasons.
Very much, yes.
So, I thought someone else was going to go at 8, and now I get to pick them. And if that person had been picked, then my next choice would have been. I had written down an order, and I was rethinking it as I was sitting here.
So I was debating, and I guess I'll show a card, and then I'll ask the question of you, Andrew, if the if the player I'm thinking is the player you're going to pick.
Yep.
What have we got? I've got a PSA 10. 1973 tops Bob McAdoo. Very nice little. I guess it's a rookie card. PSA 10 last sold for $43,900. There's 5 of these in existence. Although Card Ladder says that's overvalued and suggests that if you're looking to buy one, it's probably only worth about the 18 to 20k mark. So, what do I know? Oh, yeah, PSA 9, there's 81 of them, and they last sold for $700. So maybe that's why they think it's only worth 18k. Interesting. I actually have a Bob McAdoo autograph somewhere in this collection that I've got. So, anyhow. Obviously, because if he's backing up our number 1
he won his championships as no longer the best player on the team.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a role player by that stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was. Very much so. Did don the purple and gold.
Yeah. I say that as a potential segue.
All right, so my first question was going to be... the question after the card.
Yeah.
Is there a military rank for the next person?
There sure is. And it's right at the top of the... guys in the boats and the ships. It's
Navy.
Yeah. He's actually got 2 nicknames on basketball. The other one is just D-Rob, so that doesn't count. It's the Admiral. It's David Robinson.
Excellent.
Who won NBA championships, is no longer the best player on the team. But before he got injured in the season that ended up hugely contributing to San Antonio's draft position, and able to get Tim Duncan. There was a 7-year peak of David Robinson. Remember, he didn't start in the NBA until he was 24 years old. He played 4 years at Navy and then did 2 more years of military service. So he was 24 when he played his rookie season. So by the time 95, 96 came around, which was his last year of his proper peak, he was 31 years old. So, but that again, he almost averaged 30 points a game in 94, didn't win the MVP that year. It was the year Hakeem won it, and then he won the MVP the next season, famously scoring, I think, 73 points on the last day to win the scoring title and take it away from Shaq. Another incredible defensive player. That 92 season, he averaged 4.5 blocks and 2.3 steals when he won his Defensive Player of the Year award. 4 times All-NBA first team at a time when it was not a slam dunk, to mix a metaphor, to be named All first team. There was competition.
Yep.
And they named one center. They're like, hey, let's change the rules so we can name Ewing and Robinson and Elijah one all to the All-NBA first team. So there we go. It got better. Give the people what they want.
Of course.
But clearly an incredible scorer, an incredibly skilled big man. I think another one who, if he'd come into the NBA in the mid-2010s, would have developed range and would have developed a three-point shot. Actually, in 1994, he had 10 threes and took 29 of them. So there's some indication that he might have developed some three-point range, very much so. And then Tim Duncan came along and helped him win 2 NBA titles at the end of his career when he was just helping out. But
just doing
even in 1999, that season where they won the title, he was 4th in Defensive Player and 12th in MVP voting. He probably was behind Tim Duncan in both of those awards, but still a very significant part of that first San Antonio Spurs NBA title. And someone I'm very comfortable taking at 9 and very comfortable not having to sound like a grumpy old man for my last pick amongst the 30 players.
That is your final pick. And I'm going to go a bit different, I think, with the card selection. I am going to mix it up a little bit. I should have gone for a different card now I've thought about it, but I'm going to go with the Scoring Kings. I probably should have gone that for Shaq, let's be fair. That's Jordan synonymous with this card. But the 1992, 93, or 93, 94. 93, 94 Fleer Ultra, David Robinson, Power and the Key. Raw, last sold for $23. The Michael Jordan's the big card because it's worth $2,000 or something. In a PSA 10, this last sold for $1,500 US, the Scoring Kings. But traditionally they go into about the PSA 9 mark, and the David Robinson in a PSA 9 are sold for $315. So Scoring Kings, another one of those cool looking sets where from the 90s where the Jordan's worth a lot of money and the rest of it's just easy to collect.
Interesting trivia stat, bit factoid about the importance of centers historically is we've picked 9, and 7 of the 9 we've picked were either selected first or second in the NBA draft.
So if they pick a center first, then it's probably going to be a good center.
Yeah,
Jokic sort of averages it out though, right?
Yeah, and one
he picked 43rd during a Taco Bell ad.
Yeah, draft through the ad.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Drafted to play backup behind the other rookie that year.
Yeah.
Insulting much?
Nurkic. The Bosnian Beast.
Yeah, that's a nice day, Rob. Anyway, Dan.
Anyway, drum roll for the last pick of our whole shebang.
This is it. No pressure. You can pick any center you want now. That's remaining.
Well, I guess, this it's an interesting one because there's a lot of leeway here. Do we go with tradition and go right back to the very early days? Do we think about someone who had maybe a less even career but a really high peak? Do we look at people who had kind of really great high pressure, high profile moments of coming through adversity? I had a bit of a think about all of these guys. I wasn't really thinking about anyone for this whose career story is still being written, although, I think we've got some great candidates in the making. Jokic was the only one that made my current 10, would have made my current 10 on this. And so I did. I genuinely thought about this one. I hadn't come in deciding because there have been a few curveballs.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, you know who you are. And so so I thought, to cap it off for the last pick in this draft, I thought I would actually give a nod to tradition. The first great Laker, George Mikan, responsible for the NBA titles that the Lakers count, but were not won in Los Angeles.
Hey, it's enough shade out of you, all right?
So he won 5 titles with the Timberwolves. Excellent.
In an era where no one dunked. This
the rules hadn't even been established properly yet, let's be fair.
George Mikan was a 4-time All-Star, a 3-time scoring champ. Between the BAA and the NBA, won 5 total championships. An All-Star MVP. And he's the one that those drills under the basket, just practicing the Mikan drill. It's famous. Every player does them. It's a big part of training. Just a dominant big man, and I think as well, look, recognizing the competition, he was a giant in that era.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a player who, would have been reasonably sized. In fact, the Basketball Reference page doesn't list his height, but I'm pretty sure he was 6'10".
Yeah.
Yep.
So, center sized, kind of. Like, you could. There are plenty of 6'10" players who have played center over the years, but certainly not towering over people the way the Kareems and the Wembys and the Wilts have done in their respective eras. But certainly, and this is a guy who post basketball, a post playing career, I should say, still remained pretty involved with basketball. He ran the CBA for years. The successor to which is the G League these days.
Yep.
Became pretty involved with basketball administration post career. Played what by today's standards is an amazingly short career. Played for 6 seasons, then retired, then unretired, and played one more.
Well, the best part about that is how many championships did he win?
5 total.
How many seasons did he play?
Total of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good stats.
And in those years when he was winning championships, he was averaging, he was averaging 28 points a game, 14 rebounds, 3.2 assists, on 23.5 field goal attempts a game. By today's standards, nothing particularly flashy, about a very kind of mild-mannered looking giant man, but just a really important player. in his year, in his day. You know, a 27.1 PER. Just kind of going to show how dominant he was in that era, where they played fewer games, people were smaller, the game was played kind of low, and there were a huge volume of shots being thrown up, and even those throwing them up close, who were good at it, were hitting less than half of their attempts.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I think if you pay attention to what I said before about putting people in a historical context, then Mikan has to be in the top 10. But the game is so removed
from that.
You know. And I don't think you need to compare, you know, I think I'm sort of breaking my own rules here, but even thinking what would have a Pete Mikan done up against a Pete Russell?
Yeah.
Let alone, I know
Shaq or Jokic.
Doesn't play. It was but can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just trying to appreciate that George Mikan plays the same sport as Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, and look, it's
that makes it
he wore his spectacles on the court. Come on.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice bookend because the guy drafted at number 1.
Wore goggles, yes.
Wore goggles. So,
I do have a card. I found a card. They made cards back then.
It's his MasterCard, isn't it?
Clever. I like it. No, this is a 1948 Bowman, George Mikan. Number 69, mint condition, PSA 9, because it's got a recent sale for it. Last sold August 23rd this year for $524,500. There are four of these in existence, right? So that's in near mint, like the nearest to near mint you can get. One tiny little defect. There is a PSA 10 that was sold back in 2015 for like $400K, but the estimated card ladder value puts this card at an approximate $2.5 million. There's one of it. And in case you didn't get the memo, in the previous episode, we talked about the final auction price of that Kobe Jordan. That went for $10.6 million.
Holy
US.
Christmas.
Plus buyer's fee, it was $12.9 million US. Anyway. Yeah. That's it
was like 20 million Australian dollars.
Nearly, yeah. Yeah, on conversion, it's just under 20 million Australian.
That's weeks of Oz Lotto jackpots, as in you have to wait for it to...
That's a hell of a Powerball. Yeah.
Remember, so, we are Aussies. You need to put things in. You need to
context.
Put things in their context. Like, how many people is that? How many MCGs would that fill?
But it is like it's 20 million, almost 20 million Australian dollars.
What's the delta between that and the previous sale price
of the Kobe?
Yeah.
No, it was like 176K a while back. Like
someone's held it for a while.
Yeah. But it in the time that it had sold originally, it was 25,000 it was sold for. Then it was sold for like 176,000, and now all of a sudden it's gone for $12.9 million.
Yeah. When was that?
So the 176 was 6 years ago. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you'd feel like a real idiot if you were the one. So the person anyone that traded cards like that in that one-of-one Kobe or Jordan thing for anything less shy of absolute ridiculous money is probably out of pocket now.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably got a good deal, but anyway. But I think this is going back to Mikan. Like there's 5 of the in PSA 9 or 10. There's 5 of them in existence. So it's a piece of history. So the person that paid $500,000 for one of these PSA 9s, obviously it's a piece of a Lakers history. So it makes it, well, there is an impact collecting wise, be it Boston, be it Los Angeles, like the dynastic type teams, attract a bigger market as far as collectors and things. So, and especially the way the Lakers are one of those franchises that get into the spotlight and like the Showtime era, that attracts those collectors and the like. So, but yeah, 48 Bowman. It's a nice looking card too. I don't know about his dribble style in that, but it's an action shot maybe. Who knows? But yeah,
It's where Team Wolf got his dribble style from, isn't it?
Probably. So that's the top 10. Shall we quickly recap and tie this bad boy off?
Yes, please.
Let's.
All right. In number 1, we have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In number 2, we have the Big Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal. In number 3, of course, the winningest player according to Andrew and most other experts. It is Bill Russell. Number 4, Wilt Chamberlain. Number 5, Nikola Jokic. Number 6, Hakeem Olajuwon. Number 7, Moses Malone. Number 8, Bob McAdoo. Number 9, the Admiral, David Robinson. And number 10, we have George Mikan. I think that's a really solid top 10. I actually think it's a well-spread, quite reasonable top 10. Did anyone have any of those players well and truly out of their top 10?
And well and truly out. I had one of those players was 15 in my rankings.
Was that Shaq?
No. But it was one of your picks.
No, what? What? Oh, McAdoo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, look, I had all of them in my list. My original list was, what?
I was tempted to. I wanted to do McAdoo at. Sorry, I wanted to pick Mikan at 8, but I thought he was more of a 9th or a 10th pick.
But you know, like I'm not mad at it. Like all of them would have been in my top 10. You know, and McAdoo's like it wasn't in my top 10, but he was kind of in that area. And it does come down a little bit to that. Looking at peaks as well. Like he was just a fantastic scoring big man in his day. I think one of the things about the center draft is that we've got this interesting interesting position where the pool for center is kind of half as big as it is for the other two kind of categories, right? Because they're really 2 positions each. But it's such an important position that the top few, right? There are some names that we're just going to have to be in there in some order. But because it's only one position, there's also this kind of there's a lot of variation.
The drop off is quite quick,
or just where you've got to kind of make these compromises. We have historically and still really the most important defensive position. Most of the greats are great and memorable because they weren't only good on that end of the court.
The scorers as well as to
the point where we've got a few, and I guess McAdoo would fall into this category too. But McAdoo and Jokic, who are really most known for their contributions on the other end.
Facility,
of the court,
yeah.
Every time they do the voting for the Defensive Player of the Year, they let us know they still think it's the most important defensive position on the court. So, not bitter.
But I do find it interesting that there are some really great one end of the ball defensive centers who didn't quite make our list. And in fact, looking at some of the people who missed by not very much on my list, none of them really fall into that category of the elite one-way players either. So, yeah, I mean, I think on balance, I'm pretty happy with the list, and I was expecting a bit of chaos sort of in the tail end. And I think we delivered.
Yeah, I'm like, if McAdoo hadn't been picked, I wonder who the next person was. Was Ewing? If I'd picked McAdoo if I'd picked Mikan instead of McAdoo, who do you go with your 10th pick? Because that 10th pick is an interesting one for me. I have Ewing at the next name that I was going to pop up.
So I had a couple. So the two, like a few of the ones I was referring to when I was talking, because I really was genuinely a bit torn about this. So others that I consider, Ewing was one of them.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like wanting to give a nod to kind of more distant history. I kind of think of because he played when we were teenagers, right?
Yeah.
And so yes, Ewing was kind of close to getting, but I was also trying to think about some of the players who played longer ago. Bill Walton was someone I thought about when I was thinking about
Walton's an interesting one. Yeah,
a high peak because if it wasn't for his damn feet, he was a player who'd get on the court and do. He was very versatile. He was a great defensive player. He was a great facilitator.
So we left Luke Longley off, by the way. He's gonna start his own documentary on this now.
Indeed, we did. That was a feature, not a bug. But still, like I think
Bogut before Longley.
Bogut before Longley. Yeah, I think that's even in. I think they both agree on that in the Bogut doco thing they both worked on.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Agreed.
But I mean, I also thought about. I also found myself thinking about Dave Cowens and Willis Reed.
Okay.
And then also starting to think about some of the other kind of, old timey guys, Unselds and Thurmans.
It's interesting that we're talking about old guys because Jokic is the only young guy that's on there.
Oh yeah. So, but when we're talking about a 75-year plus history, right? Like,
yeah, true. I think we've done well to take from all because you look, Kareem, Russell, Wilt, McAdoo, Malone, Mike, and we've taken a lot from the older. We've got two from the sort of the 90s, or Shaq's the 90s, 2000s. Shaq would be the second youngest. Jokic, obviously, the youngest.
Mm.
But we've talked about this, how the center position is sort
Ewing,
of... It was a dying
Ewing
craft.
Ewing was the next one I had.
Yeah.
And some of the other names I had later on my list, because I wrote down 15 names have been mentioned, except one. And it was actually a younger player. I had Dwight Howard in my 15.
Howard's a consideration. He was...
Yeah.
And I think he sort of... his
He also fit into that won his championship when he was a role player as well.
Yeah. But I think there's a second half to Dwight's career that as we sort of moved away from rating the center position because teams weren't doing it, where his production in that period, sort of the Rockets, Charlotte stage of his career, and he was getting moved around.
Yeah.
But he was still putting up pretty impressive numbers. So I think that sort of gets diminished. And of course, when he was in Orlando, his numbers were fantastic. He was
incredible.
The best center in the league and sort of unchallenged almost during that period, depending on how you think about
great.
Gasol.
Yeah.
And with the power as a center.
Mobile, versatile, that's the word.
Mm.
Anyway. Awesome. All right. Well, that was an interesting experiment. Feedback is Russell's happy for us to take over the pod whenever he is MIA. So I will extend the invite yet again should the opportunity arise and present itself. This has been a bit of fun. I've enjoyed it. We'll have to find another.
Now, Adam,
yes, sir.
You want to make sure those you can't comp this listeners know that it's September now, and we were only like 6 or 7 weeks out from the NBA season. So
the pods are coming.
Yeah, but at end of September, early October, we've got our preview pods, which are always incredible as we go through every team. I guarantee there'll be more cranky rants from me if that's your thing, and really
more me shit stirring Andrew trying to get those rants to happen. Yeah.
And if cranky old man rants from me aren't your thing, then that's disappointing. That makes me angry.
Shake your fist at the sky. Come on, shake your fist at the sky.
We'll go through every team and sort of place them in order, and it's all predictions wrong, all your money back. So,
it's an entertaining.
please,
It's a long
be
pod.
listening.
It's a long pod. I would highly
long
recommend that listeners do just hit the subscribe button. It's a pod every couple of weeks. The preseason stuff is coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
They're two of our favourite pods to do every year. Their previews with the least in conference first, then the best in conference. Lots of well-worn things we say over and over again.
Very, very much. Although my tune on Luka Doncic might change this year.
Might be a little different.
Might be slightly different. We've come to an alignment where we've got shared goals.
Promise you a different theme to our Lakers preview this season, because I'm not going to be like they're going to go as far as Anthony Davis can take them.
Yes, I reckon that the Dallas preview might sound similar though.
I'll go as far as Cooper Flag can take them.
Anthony Davis can take Cooper Flag, can take them. I don't know. This is weird.
Anyway,
thanks guys. Appreciate the collab for the last 3 episodes or 3 episodes. I think Russell and I did one in between, but yes, it's been a lot of fun. And if you haven't done so already, everybody please check out 3 Old Guys Talking Ball, where you get to listen to me, Andrew, and Dan go on about basketball. Till the next episode. See you guys later.